Thank you all for joining us today for this year's Mothership. I'm honored to be here with my colleague and partner in legislative leadership, Speaker Carl Hastie. I'd also like to recognize Senate Minority Leader Robert Ort and Assembly Minority Leader Will Barclay, whose input we certainly appreciate during this process. The Senate majority has put forth a budget blueprint for a more affordable, equitable, and prosperous New York. Our fiscal plan is a testament to our commitment to the state's hardworking families. It's crafted to amplify and restore needed funds in essential areas, ranging from education and housing to healthcare and economic advancement and more. This budget is designed to raise the prospects of our working and middle-class residents. It achieves our goal of passing a timely measure that is both balanced and immediately impactful. The Senate majority budget rejects education cuts and supports New Yorkers from cradle to college, provides real housing solutions to increase supply while it protects tenants and homeowners. It continues our shepherding of the lowest middle-class tax rate in 70 years. It improves affordability while spurring economic growth from the bottom up. It invests in the modernization of New York's infrastructure and transportation systems, prioritizes meeting our environmental and climate goals, protects and boosts healthcare services, especially in mental, maternal, and reproductive care spaces. It assists local governments and supports communities, promotes equality and invests in safety, and grows New York agriculture. Moving ahead in partnership with Governor Hochul and with my counterparts in the Assembly, we're dedicated to converting these proposals into concrete results that will advance the progress of New York State. Thank you. And now let me introduce my colleagues who will be representing the Senate on this committee. To my right is our Finance Chair, Senator Liz Krueger. To her right, Deputy Majority Leader Michael Gianaris, Chair of the Democratic Conference, Jose Serrano, an alternate member from the Majority Revenue Committee Chair, Andrew Bernardis, and Minority Leader Robert Ort, and as alternate for the minority, Deputy Minority Leader Andrew Lanza. Thank you all, and now I turn it over to my partner from the Assembly, Speaker Hastie.
Thank you, Madam Majority Leader, and good afternoon. And on behalf of the New York State Assembly, we are pleased to convene the Joint Budget Conference Committee. At this time, I would like to introduce the members of the Assembly who are serving on this General Budget Conference Committee. To my immediate left is Majority Leader Crystal Peoples-Stokes, Deputy Speaker Phil Ramos, Speaker Pro Tem Jeff Aubrey, Minority Leader Will Barclay, and Assembly Member Ed Rye, who is the ranker on Ways and Means. The Assembly Majority Budget Proposal shows our commitment to putting New York families first in a smart and fiscally responsible way. Our budget would ease the tax burden on hardworking New York families by sending rebate checks in the mail and providing $334 per child to qualifying families. We would establish the Healthcare Access Improvement Plan, which would add a premium on managed care organizations and generate billions of dollars for Medicaid. The revenue from the plan would help uniformly increase Medicaid rates, provide an additional rate increase for healthcare facilities, and restore over $1 billion of the governor's healthcare cuts. The plan is currently working in California, and if California can do it, so shall New York. We make critical investments in our schools, including $1.1 billion in foundation aid to maintain, hold harmless, and provide funding for pre-K programs and make lunches free for all students. The plan also provides an additional $2 billion through the Smart Schools Bond Act to modernize the technology in schools, increase school security, support the transition to electric school buses, and increase energy efficiency all across communities. Our children need to be prepared for a modern world, and this investment will make that possible. The Assembly's proposed budget also provides critical funding for SUNY and CUNY and keeps education affordable and accessible through an expansion of the Tuition Assistance Program, better known as TAP. Our plan would make much-needed investment in social service programs and a safety net for those New Yorkers who need the most help. With rising child care costs, we're proposing increased funding for daycare workers and cash assistance to low-income pregnant mothers to help them through the first year of their child's life. We're also ensuring no family goes hungry on our watch by proposing additional funding to anti-poverty programs and establishing a supplemental basic grant for public assistance. We propose including $268 million for the MTA's expansion of their low-income rider discount and free bus program. The spending plan invests $40 million for the homeowner protection program with additional funding for public housing and tenant protections. Our budget would also raise personal income taxes by readjusting the tax rate on the top highest earning brackets, $2.3 billion by adjusting the corporate finance franchise tax, and $1 billion in consensus reserves. This budget reflects our priorities, and I'm extremely proud of the hard work our members have done in putting this proposal. I look forward to working with my colleagues in the coming weeks to come to a final agreement with the governor and the Senate. I'll turn it back over to the leader, who will turn it over to her Senate counterpart.
Yes, thank you, Speaker Hasty. And we'll hear remarks from Senate Minority Leader Robert Orth.
You're not on. Gotta press it and hold it.
Press hard. There you go.
There we go. All right. I want to thank my colleagues. I want to certainly thank Majority Leader Stewart-Cousins, as well as Speaker Hasty, my colleagues here on the committee, Senate Deputy Minority Leader Andrew Lanza. Not surprisingly, the Senate minority has a different view of the budget proposals that have been put forward, be they by the governor, the Assembly, which I will leave to my colleague Assembly Leader Barkley to speak about, but certainly in the Senate One House, I don't believe, and our conference does not believe, this budget addresses certainly the issue of affordability. We all know if spending money made New York more affordable, we would be the most affordable state in the union. That is not the case. In fact, we are very often an unaffordable state because of high taxes, because of high fees, because of the high cost of doing business in the state of New York. And this budget really doubles down on all of those core fundamental drivers of the unaffordability issue, which you've heard all of us talk about. The $233 billion budget proposed by the governor in January was already unprecedented in size and scope. The Senate added a staggering $13.2 billion in additional spending, as well as $7.1 billion in new taxes, both on healthcare, on New Yorkers, and on businesses. Taxing and spending increases of this magnitude are not responsible and, again, will contribute to the unaffordability crisis here in New York. The One House budget would total more than $246 billion, or nearly $250 billion. The lack of affordability in the Empire State, of course, has driven many people to leave New York in search of other opportunities elsewhere in the country. This resolution, instead of cutting spending to make life more affordable, again, is imposing $7.1 billion in new taxes on New Yorkers. This includes $1 billion in higher income taxes, $2 billion in higher business taxes, and $4 billion in new taxes on healthcare plans. The One House resolution rejects the governor's proposal to crack down on retail theft across the state, which sends a loud and clear message to criminals everywhere that New York is a great place to shoplift with little or no consequence. The One House Senate budget also clears the way for even more prison closures, a step that will further undermine public safety, harm regional economies, and place New York's corrections officers at greater risk. At the same time, their plan does offer $1.6 million in transportation funding so that more people can travel to visit their family members who are in prisons across New York at, of course, taxpayer expense. The governor has proposed a staggering $2.4 billion, $4.2 billion over 2 years to address the migrant crisis. The legislature continues to spend even more money on this issue while doing nothing to stem the flow of migrants coming to New York State. Our conference has been clear on this issue. Our state shouldn't be spending any more money on this issue until we bring an end to the misguided sanctuary policies that have created this crisis and exacerbated it. There are a host of misguided priorities, which I won't get into all of them here, but certainly the housing crisis. Instead of promoting new housing construction across the state, the Senate's one-house budget includes a controversial good cause eviction proposal that will only help deepen the housing crisis. Instead of promoting new growth and new housing investment, this measure will punish responsible landlords, inhibit investment in both new and existing housing, and ultimately reduce housing opportunities across our state. Failed energy policies, with New Yorkers already facing skyrocketing energy costs. The Senate's one-house budget continues a radical, misguided, and unrealistic approach to energy, specifically proposing to eliminate incentives that currently help homeowners and builders hook up to new gas lines, a step that will damage our economy and dramatically increase construction and home ownership across New York, which is something we should be doing the opposite for. In conclusion, there are obviously some good things in a $246 billion budget. It's nearly impossible not to have some bright spots. I was very happy, as our conference was, to see the restoration of funding or foundation aid cuts that would have hurt our schools, particularly rural and suburban districts. There were also some additions to the Dwyer program, which our conference has supported. And I want to thank certainly the majority, as well as Senator Jessica Scarcella Stanton, for continuing to support the Dwyer program. But overall, this budget is a bad budget, and I would argue a fiscally unsustainable one for New Yorkers. While millions of New Yorkers are tightening their belts and struggling to make ends meet, we are continuing year after year to increase spending. To be clear, we've increased spending up to this point by $60 billion over the past 5 years. This would take that to over $70 billion. That is larger than 36 other states' total budget. So that is not a sustainable growth model, and at some point, New Yorkers are going to be stuck with the bill. Now, instead of fixing the problems that are facing our state, the Senate majority's fiscally responsible budget would actually make many of them worse. As the budget process moves forward, our conference will continue to push for a fiscally responsible budget, common sense reforms that prioritize the needs of New Yorkers while making our state actually safer, stronger, and more affordable. And again, I want to thank my colleagues for the participation of this committee and for working towards that effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator North.
So now we'll hear from Minority Leader Will Barkley.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank Speaker Hasty, Senate Majority Leader Stuart Cousins, Minority Leader Robert Orr, and all of our colleagues that are here today. I appreciate the chance to share my thoughts on the budget proposal we have seen and the process that we'll see over the next few weeks. I want to thank my conference, especially our ranking member on the Assembly Ways and Means Committee, Ed Rah, for the work that's been done in developing and analyzing these budget proposals. I also want to recognize the Ways and Means and Finance staffs from every legislative conference for their incredible efforts over these last few weeks. Last week, as we all know, the budget proposals that we saw in the majority conferences each came in at approximately $246 billion. While that is very ambitious spending, we do need a reality check. As Leader Orts mentioned, if we enact the governor's executive budget, that will mean that the state spending in the last 5 years will have increased by $60 billion. That's a 35% jump. If we enact the majority's proposals, the state spending in the last 5 years will jump $73 billion. That's a 42% increase. That's simply too much to ask from the taxpayers. And to put that in context, in the same 5-year period when state spending levels could jump by roughly 40%, the disposable income of all New Yorkers, the men and women who actually fund these budgets, has increased by only 0.2%. This is an unsustainable path, and it's no wonder people are leaving New York State. Every legislative conference agrees that state revenues are coming in stronger than projections, so why are the majorities proposing raising taxes and the governor proposing dipping into our emergency reserves? There's no rational financial need. That being said, it's not all bad. There are some measures in the Assembly majority's resolution that I hope will be part of the final agreement. As I think we all agree on, restoration of the hold harmless provisions in school funding, sales tax relief on oral hygiene products and school supplies, addressing the onerous burden of rising child care costs, and eliminating the arbitrary closure of 5 state prisons, just to name a few. But I'm also hoping all parties include more elements of transparency and fiscal responsibility that we've witnessed in past years. Assembly Republicans are ready and willing to work together to achieve a final state budget that stems the out-migration crisis, fosters an economic climate that helps businesses thrive, and allows New Yorkers to keep more of their hard-earned dollars. Over the coming weeks, I hope there will be an opportunity for all of us to work collaboratively towards a responsible, effective spending plan that moves New York in a better fiscally responsible direction. Thank you.
The Senate and Assembly have executed the joint certificate beginning the conference committee process in an effort to reconcile variations in the budget proposals passed by each House.
The Senate designates Shelley Andrews as the Senate's recording secretary of the General Conference Committee.
The Assembly designates Catherine Ambrosio as the Assembly's recording secretary of the General Conference Committee. We have appointed members to the various joint budget subcommittees, and lists of the member assignments to each subcommittee have been distributed by the press offices.
The General Conference Committee will meet as needed. The schedule for the joint budget subcommittees meetings has been distributed by the press offices.
The General Conference Committee is now adjourned, subject to the call of the co-chairs. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.